And welcome back to the Hot Lap. Apologies for the lack of a green screen and my blurry face, but more importantly, Leclerc has signed for Ferrari. I guess most of you hearing this is probably going to be old news, but let's get into it because there's more to that than meets the eye. Because is Leclerc, here's the big question, is Leclerc gambling on that Ferrari future? We know it's a risk. I mean, the last guy to win with Ferrari was Kimi Raikkonen in 2007. However, you could caveat that was just as much as McLaren losing it as Ferrari winning it. And then obviously we had Michael Schumacher from 2000 to 2004, Ferrari's most dominant era, the golden years now, looking back at it. But here's from motorsport.com. Leclerc signs his contract extension with Ferrari. He signed a multi-year contract extension, and it's described as several more seasons, albeit Ferrari are being fairly coy on how long this is. They stopped short, basically, of disclosing the exact amount of the deal, but it's expected that the Monegasque will remain here, it says, with the team at least until the 2026 regulations shift. I imagine there's going to be options, etc. Leclerc's come out and said, I'm very pleased to know that I will be wearing the Scuderia Ferrari race suit for several more seasons to come. To race for this team has been my dream since I was 3 years old. I used to watch the Monaco Grand Prix from the window of a friend's apartment at Sandoval Corner. I'd always look for the red cars. Absolutely, to live in Monaco and watching it when you were 3, oh Leclerc. So this team is my second family ever since I joined the Ferrari Driver Academy in 2016, and we have achieved a lot together, fighting through thick and thin over the past 5 years. He went on to saying, however, I believe the best is yet to come, and I can't wait for this season to start to make further progress and be competitive at every race. My dream remains that of winning the World Championship with Ferrari, and I'm sure in the years ahead we will enjoy great times and make our fans happy. So as we know, Leclerc joined Ferrari in the 2019 season. He was a member of that Ferrari Academy, and he was at Alfa Romeo during that rookie year. And the 26-year-old took his first 2 wins from the prancing horse that season in both Belgium and Italy. I mean, yeah, one after another. Brilliant. I think the only other guy to do that for his first wins, I think, was Lewis Hamilton. I could be wrong, and that would have been the last guy to do it would have been 2007 Canada and the USA in Indianapolis. So Ferrari struggled, as we know, last year to compete with first Mercedes and now Red Bull. Since obviously he started his win streak. Before we get into the gamble that someone wants to talk about, Planet F1 have got an interesting article saying ranking Ferrari's stars 5 F1 wins so far, which I thought was interesting. So let's go down to it. Number 5, the 22 Austrian Grand Prix. And it goes, here is the first little hint of Red Bull's setup weakness on the sprint weekends, which could only truly come to light, opening the door for Mercedes' only victory so far in F1 in Brazil. After dominating the sprint race from pole position, Verstappen was widely expected to rinse and repeat on race day, yet found himself suffering from that excessive level of degradation, forcing him to pit for new tyres just 13 laps in as Leclerc extended his first stint on lap 26. That's the Austrian one. Easy win. Bahrain Grand Prix in 2022. 3 words to make the heart of any F1 enthusiast leap to the sky. It says Ferrari are back. If you remember, that was the first race of the 2022 season. He pit Verstappen to pole, and it was basically, a chop and change. Verstappen and Perez ended up dropping out simultaneously at the end. 2019 Italian Grand Prix. Only third for the first time only. Ferrari victory at Monza since 2010. Leclerc's stunning first season with Ferrari reached its summit with a victory at the team's home race, marking a significant political, it said, milestone in the power shift between him and Vettel. Vettel had a shocking race, didn't he? And then we had his first win at the 2019 Belgian Grand Prix, which was really impressive because he had a certain 7-time world champion absolutely hunting him down towards the end of the race. And then his best win was the Australian Grand Prix. 2 races later, this was after the wonderful Bahrain in 22. A lean, mean, fit and firing Red Bull, even in the hands of Max Verstappen, would have struggled to live with Leclerc at the weekend, it said. Pole position by 3/10, fastest lap on the very last tour, and victory by a 20-second margin rarely seen in the tyre fuel management win at the slowest possible speed era. The cherry on top, after Leclerc successfully navigated a few safety car periods, it said, it would prove to be the only threat to his lead all day, was the sight of Verstappen, as in Bahrain, dropping out of the race. So there's 5 wins. Don't really disagree with that. But what I think is interesting here is they're obviously talking about, so let me just move them, they're obviously talking about, sorry about the noise, a gamble. And that gamble is him gambling his F1 legacy with his latest Ferrari contract. So it's sometimes easy to forget how difficult it is to become a world champion, the article says. Out of the 770 drivers, only 111 have won a Grand Prix and just 34 have won a championship. Now it says it stands to reason there's a gluttony of drivers who are title level quality but are missing the good fortune needed to go from contender to champion. So pretty much since he first appeared on the scene for Sauber, he's been earmarked as a future great, it says. After all, the story is too good, right? Born in Monaco, Leclerc is now heading into his 7th season of competition, and at 26 is entering what many would consider the prime of his career. And 5 victories, it says, has him tied with Rosberg, Keke of the Keke variety, and John Watson, who it says here, good drivers that they are not the level of the driver Leclerc was predicted to emulate. I don't think you can argue that, predicted to emulate, because at the moment he's not. You could say he's maybe about, you could make an argument he's better than them, but everyone predicted him to be better. Now, that's potentially more Ferrari's fault than Leclerc's, I think. But Leclerc has made big errors, let's say, I think. So to make matters worse, a man just a few weeks older than him is competing for what many will suspect to be his 4th championship, a la Verstappen. And it says Leclerc and Verstappen's talent may not be poles apart, but their teams certainly are. And it's Leclerc who's felt the brunt of him being fairly unlucky. A potential title bid in 22 fell away when Ferrari repeatedly shot themselves in the foot. Any other team Leclerc would surely have been at the door by now. But it's not just the team who have been at fault. It says here Leclerc himself has made errors, most notably in qualifying, but it is the pressure applied by Verstappen and Red Bull, and even Ferrari, it says, that have made him do so. Now, in this desire to find that extra tenth that would at least bring him to that Dutchman level, Leclerc has pushed too hard and come undone. It is why the next few years are pivotal to Leclerc's long-term career. I mean, a lot of it's going to be in how good Ferrari are next year. In 24, that's going to dictate how good they are in 25. And maybe, if they're not, all that, more significantly, it's going to be how good are they going to be in 2026 when the rules shift. And you've got to make a view that if they're not very good then, will Leclerc leave? And it says there are expectations, of course. Rosberg was 31 when he won in 2016. Jenson Button 29, but serial winners, of which Leclerc was predicted to be amongst, often win at an early age and never stop. To make Leclerc's task harder, it also seems more difficult than ever before to win a championship. Before the dominance of Verstappen, it says it was Hamilton. Leclerc may drive with the Prancing Horse logo that Schumacher did, but the badge carries less weight now than it did in the Germans' heyday. That's fairly significant, a massive exclamation mark, isn't it? Even away from the champions, there are a number of young drivers itching to get their moment in the sun. Norris has arguably, it says here, surpassed Leclerc, the highest rated prospect. I don't know. I mean, he's not won a race. The times he could have won a race, he threw it away in Russia, like Leclerc. I'd say they're on par. I don't think Norris is hotter than Leclerc in their eyes, because the times when he has potentially got that pole, he's arguably done a Leclerc and not really binned it, but I do think if that McLaren is as good as we hope it is this year, that's going to be different. And they got George Russell and Carlos Sainz there or thereabouts, as is Perez. No, Perez is not. Planet F1, I'm sorry. And that's before you get to Alonso as Hamilton. I think you can't put Perez and Leclerc in the same sentence. But there we go. I mean, it is going to be a gamble, isn't it? It really is going to be a gamble for Charles Leclerc, I think, to go with Ferrari. But who else did you go with? Mercedes have got George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. Are Red Bull really going to put Leclerc in with Verstappen? And then the other argument you've got to consider is, will Red Bull not be fair? But Verstappen's very much the number one. They're not going to want to upset that apple cart, because you look at the number 2 drive, and ever since Ricciardo left, their number 2s have been absolutely nowhere compared to Verstappen for potentially various reasons, which we won't get into here. So there we go. It's going to be interesting. Anyway, stay tuned. We've just done a Rally WRC Monte Carlo update for the Friday. We'll probably do another one for Saturday. First rally of the year. Absolutely brilliant if you're into that. Other than that, we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.